Jai Baba. Nothing is real but God. Nothing matters but love for God. God is the only reality. All else that seems real is illusory. God and I are one. Meher Baba. Avatar Meher Baba ki Jai. Thank you, beloved Baba. Jai Baba to all of you. We are reading this absolutely marvelous book, Flowing Conversations with the Awakener by Balnatu. And we are on page number 78. The chapter is Timeless Happening.
I was sitting at my desk in a meditative mood one afternoon, looking through the window at the vast land and sky that stretched into the distance. As I gazed outside, observing the ever changing scene, I was filled with a deep sense of peace. Some stones were slumbering under a thick layer of moss, while birds were hovering over the crops. A squirrel timidly looked here and there, then went up a tree, and simultaneously hundreds of other creatures were moving about. My mind began to ponder the source of movement behind all of this. It is a perennial mystery. Is there any end to all of this play before my eyes? As I tried to understand such things, my mood changed and I became preoccupied with these questions. Why can't I witness the happenings around me without being pulled or pushed by the mind? Why not just let the tapestry weave itself? I watched the clouds pass by, the rays of sunlight shimmering through the window and into my room, making patterns on the floor. I looked over to the soft cushioned chair next to my desk and asked myself, what do I know of how the chair came to be? From which tree was it cut? Am I really seeing the chair or am I seeing my concept of a chair? I only see the form of a chair but have no idea of the numerous processes it underwent to become what it is now. What other unseen paths wind their way through my room?
How very descriptive the author is. Certain catchwords I will try to, what should I say, elaborate on. I was sitting at my desk in a meditative mood one afternoon, looking through the window at the vast land and sky that stretched into the distance. As I gazed outside, observing the ever changing scene, I was filled with a deep sense of peace. Here, what attracted my attention was the ever changing scene. Every moment, everything changes. Whether we observe it or not, everything, the, the whole game of life is to be able to accommodate ourselves and to change ourselves to the constantly changing scenario. If we are stuck up into any one mold, we are unable to enjoy the free flowing and the free changing of the scenes, and we suffer. We are attached, we suffer. So here this word attracted my attention, that the one who has learned the art of molding with the, like water. If you put it in a jug, it will take the shape of a jug. If you put it in a glass, it will take the shape of a glass. If you put it in a bucket, it will take the shape of the bucket. It has no specific shape. In the same way, if we are trained, we have trained ourselves, our mind, our way of thinking, that the other name of life is change. It changes every moment. It changes. Sometimes you are happy, sometimes you are sad, sometimes you are stressed, sometimes you create distress for somebody else, and all that. So that was the one thing. I was filled up. Some stones were slumbering under a thick layer of moss. See how beautifully he's explaining. While birds were hovering over the crops. A squirrel timidly looked here and there, then went up a tree and simultaneously hundreds of other creatures were moving about. My mind began to ponder the source of movement behind all this. What is the source of movement behind everything that is changing every moment? What is the source? Why is it changing? What triggers these changes? So he says, my mind began to ponder. It is a perennial mystery, perennial for all time. Is there any end to all of this play before my eyes? As I tried to understand such things, my mood changed and I became preoccupied with these questions. Why can't I witness the happenings around me without being pulled or pushed by the mind? Because all of us at any given point in time are impelled by two forces. One is the external scenario, the surrounding, the environment, the occurrence, the events, the happening, what is going outside. And the second is my own karmic makeup within myself, how it responds or reacts to what is happening out there. So here the author is saying, can I not just see the tapestry changing all the time without being pulled into it, without being sucked into it, without being pushed into it, without being judgmental about it, without all that? So why is it that I'm not able to observe everything as a witness? Why am I getting agitated? Why am I getting irritated? Why am I getting triggered? Why am I being so reactive to everything that is happening around my life? Why can't I witness the happenings around me without being pulled and pushed by the mind? Why not just let this tapestry weave itself? Let the tapestry weave itself and let me be just Sakshi Bhav, as we say, be a witness. Why can't I be that? I watched the clouds pass by, the rays of sunlight shimmering through the window and into my room, making patterns on the floor. I looked over to the cushioned sofa cushion next to my desk, and asked myself, what do I know of how the chair came to be? From which tree was it cut? So he's pondering into the deeper aspects of life. Am I really seeing the chair, or am I seeing my concept of a chair? It's a very important sentence. I'll come to that a little later. I only see the form of a chair, but have no idea of the numerous processes it underwent to become what it is now. What other unseen paths wind their way through my room? Talking about the chair, Soumya and I'm sure I've shared this earlier. One day we were just taking a leisurely walk in our area, Mira Road area in Bombay, and we came across a very beautiful, divider on the road, the left side of the road and the right side, where there were plants, very beautiful flowering plants were planted by the government, by the municipality, and we were admiring. It is so beautiful. I mean, it really enhances the beauty of the place. And just just then we saw an ass, a donkey, come by and chow, munching away the beautiful flowers. So what came to our mind was, while we are watching the flowers as a thing of beauty, as something which is so pleasing to us, the ass is seeing the same thing as food, you can say, as food, or something to satiate his or her hunger. So, in other words, every aspect, external aspect of things will appear to us as we perceive it, and not that means there is no innate truth or innate objectivity in that particular thing. That's how we came across. There could be so many other ways in which it can be looked upon. So here, this is what triggered our thoughts. Uh, am I really seeing the chair, or am I seeing my concept of a chair? just as my concept of beauty was totally demolished, shattered the moment that ass came and ate away all the beautiful flowers. So it's like that. Am I right, Somi?
Looking at the wall, my eye was caught by the calendar hanging just above me. My mind stirred with another thought. The compartmentalization of time in years, months, and days is arbitrary. We often forget these are illusory divisions and treat them as though they are real. Can time be differentiated from space? Being present means being present now and being present here. To be located in time requires a particular location in space, doesn't it? I have no time or space to test these ideas. So it seems I am a bundle of hypotheses posing as axioms. Will I ever be able to solve the problem that I really know nothing? Like soap bubbles, all these unanswerable questions overflowed from my mind. From pondering the movement of nature around me, the objects that fill my room, and the divisions of time, I began to attend to the play of my consciousness. I wondered, how can I reconcile division and oneness? My interior life is made up of thoughts and feelings. Where do they come from and why should they bind me? There is a slight difference or line of demarcation between them. When thoughts intensify, then I begin to feel. So the distinction between these two is hypothetical. Even the distinction between inside and outside is blurred. First, I think, then I move my hand. When I feel inspired, song emerges. Where is movement and song located? In my mind or in my body? After a period of intense thinking along these lines, my mind became tired of this strenuous search and began to give in. At that moment, to my relief, I saw you standing in the doorway of my room, smiling at me. Shaking your head in amusement at the confusion I was in, you asked, "What is the matter?" "Mind," I said. "What is mind?" "Matter," I answered back, smiling. "What is matter?" In an attempt to be clever, I said, "Never mind, it doesn't matter."
Beautiful. These are extremely, the entire series of conversations with the Awakener, they're extremely impactful. It can become a study matter for people who want to really research and make an impactful transformation in their way of being. So very beautiful. Okay. Now here we talked about the chair and the concept of chair. Looking at the wall, my eye was caught by the calendar hanging just above me. My mind stirred with another thought. The compartmentalization of time in years, months, and days is arbitrary, isn't it? See, time is a construct of the mind, I would put it that way. And mind itself is illusory. So, time is illusory. In the eternity of things, there is no past, there is no future, there is only one moment, and that is the eternal now. And that eternal now encompasses all of the illusory past and also all of the illusory expected future. Now, how do we try to understand with our limited mind that which is beyond the mind? Try to understand. So here he is struggling. The author is struggling. This is an arbitrary thing. It is based on individual discretion and judgment. Time is different for anybody. We joke around, that if you are on the outside of the toilet, you can really measure. You feel so desperate to go in, and somebody is not coming out. So even 1 minute or 2 minutes seems like 2 hours. Or when you are in a very happy mood, the time just flies like this. You feel, oh, it's over with. We just went on a holiday and 7 days are over. We didn't even know how the time flew. And when we are suffering, when we are in pain, when we are, hurt or whatever, the time goes very slow. So time is not something fixed. It is arbitrary. It is dependent upon your own consciousness as to what is the state of our own consciousness. So here he says it is arbitrary. We often forget these are illusory divisions and treat them as though they are real. Can time be differentiated from space? Now, what is time? What is space? In our one of the earlier sessions, we did one of the that the 21 points which Baba had dictated during the East West gathering in November 1962, where to the best of my remembrance, Baba said that time is the period between the very first imagination and the very last imagination. The moment imagination starts, in other words, the moment illusion starts, time starts. And the moment illusion ends, and you are in the domain of the truth or reality or Advaita or oneness or whatever you call it, Aham Brahmasmi, Anal Hak Soham, time stops. The time that we talk about stops. Then there is only one time, that is the present moment, that is the eternal now. And about space, elsewhere in God Speaks also, Baba talks about space as being the shadow of God. And since God is infinite, space also is infinite. There is no limitation to space, you see. And millions upon millions of galaxies and universes are being created constantly ad infinitum. Baba uses this word ad infinitum. And all these are being accommodated in what we call as space. So can we imagine how huge the space can be? We cannot imagine. So coming back, being present means being present now and being present here. Being present now refers to time. Being present here refers to the place, the location, the space. To be located in time requires a particular location in space, doesn't it? We are going into deeper waters, but let's try to understand as best as we can. Then he says, I have no time or space to test these ideas. You cannot test them. So it seems I am a bundle of hypotheses. Hypothesis is a collective assumption taken to be true. This is a hypothesis. We take it to be true. There is no evidence that it is true, but we take it to be true because collectively we have thought that this is true. That's what. A bundle of hypotheses posing as axioms. Axioms here, the seemingly self-evident. It is seemingly self-evident. It does not require any proof or evidence. It is self-evident. For example, if I say I am Cyrus, it is self-evident that I am this body, but in truth, I am not this. You see, so that is the meaning of axiom. Yeah, which cannot be proved or cannot be disproved. It is just taken for granted. So it is. Will I ever be able to solve the problem that I really know nothing? I really don't know anything. But will I be able to solve that problem? Like soap bubbles, all these unanswerable questions overflowed from my mind. From pondering the movement of nature around me, pondering means to deeply think about a certain thing. From pondering the movement of nature around me, the objects that fill my room, like the chair and the table he was talking about, and the divisions of time, I began to attend to the play of my consciousness. This everything is happening as a play in my consciousness. I wondered, how can I reconcile division and oneness? How do I reconcile this? Division is totally different. Oneness is totally different. If there is oneness, there cannot be any division. And if there is division, there cannot be oneness. How do I reconcile that? My interior life is made up of thoughts and feelings, ultimately what we call as internal or interior. is made up of our thoughts and feelings, which obviously, as we know now from our literature, that they are in turn based on samskaras. And samskaras are in turn based on our past actions. And our past actions in turn is because of the earlier samskaras. And that's a vicious circle which goes on and on and on. So here he is saying, okay, my interior life is made up of thoughts and feelings. Where do they come from? Where do my thoughts come from? Where do my feelings come from? And why should they bind me? Why is it that I am triggered by my thoughts and feelings? Why can't I just let it flow out without being affected, without being pulled and pushed by my thoughts and feelings? There is a slight difference or line of demarcation, line of separation between them, between thoughts and feelings, a very fine line of demarcation. When thoughts intensify, then I begin to feel. That means first comes the thought, then comes the feeling, and then comes the action. So this is how it is staged. And Baba says, if you are able to dissolve your past samskaras only through thoughts and feelings and not putting them into action, then over a period of time, all those samskaras lose their intensity, their vibrancy, their velocity, their strength, and they will have no effect on you. It is like a wound up clock. It will ring at the appointed time, and then if you do not wind it again, the whole winding is over, the clock will not ring. But if you wind it again through actions, especially actions based on I am the doer, that is the whole platform, doership, kartutva abhiman, karta. If you do it that way, then that tantamounts to winding of the clock again, and again you have to go through the whole process over and over again. So here he is saying, so the distinction between the two is hypothetical. Hypothetical would be conditional. Even the distinction between inside and outside is blurred. There is no distinct differentiation between the inside and outside. We have seen that the outside reflects on our consciousness based on our inside. We have done this over and over again. my oft repeated, as I say, Sada Suhagan example of a dog walking in and 100 people reacting differently. But they are reacting differently in spite of the fact that something is happening out there. Something that is happening out there is one instance, but the reaction for 100 people is different. That means what is happening out there does not affect you. What affects you is your own interpretation of what is happening out there. We've done that, so I'm not going to go into that again. Even the distinction between inside and outside is blurred. First, I think, then I move my hand. When I feel inspired, song emerges. So he's talking about how thoughts, feelings, and action. And here, action, he talks about the song. Where is movement and song located? Where is the source of movement? Where is the source of song? For that matter, where is the source of my sound? Where is the source of your listening? Is it like that? Is it in my mind? Is it in my body? He's asking. After a period of intense thinking along these lines, my mind became tired by this strenuous search, vigorous search. Sometimes the mind is just not able to make a pathway or a breakthrough. It just goes on and on and on and on in a circular manner, and then you become so fat, so fagged out, so tired. So here he talks about strenuous search and began to give in. Then you say, I have no answer to this, I'm giving in. At that moment, to my relief, I saw you standing in the doorway of my room smiling at me. Baba always comes at the most appropriate time, appointed time, and he's always smiling, always in a humorous mood, always joking, always uplifting, never condemning. Shaking your head in amusement at the confusion I was in, you asked, "What is the matter?" Baba always liked confusion. Mind, I said. What is the matter? Mind. It's the mind that is creating all the problem. Mind, I said. What is mind? He says, matter. I answered back smiling. Then Baba says, what is matter? In an attempt to be clever, I said, never mind, it doesn't matter. All right, go ahead.
You chuckled and affirmed, "That's right. Nothing matters. There is nothing but the timeless happening." My eyebrows raised, asking you to expound on your profound statement that provided some closure to my progression of thoughts over the afternoon. Without any resistance, let your mind be open, allowing thoughts and feelings to flow in and flow out, whatever they may be. The world is composed of innumerable happenings, both great and small. But in truth, there is just one incredible, indivisible, timeless happening. Let yourself flow with it as a part of my divine game. Opening your arms to indicate the room and expanse outside the window, you affirm everything you see and beyond. It is but one happening, and you too, although unaware, are one with it. You then settled into the soft chair near my desk and with a deep and intimate expression continued. There is only one moment in which this panorama of millions of years measured in time appears. The moment is nothing but the ever living one experiencing everything. The one who, experiencing infinite illusion, has projected it out and it returns to the one. Could there be even a single moment that does not hold the eternity of the infinite one's presence? For I am ever active, responding to every situation, both personal and universal. Please go on, I said, listening intently. Most people misunderstand the oneness of all life. Your dividing life into separate pieces is as ridiculous as a conflict between two disciples massaging each leg of their master. The first disciple, out of jealousy, pinches the other leg when the rival disciple is not looking, as though the leg is not connected to the master. Some people dishonor others because they see their duty as separate from the ultimate well being of the whole. Everyone is a part of the whole, not just separate pieces. Yes, I can see the point you're making, I responded. Try to witness all things and events as well as yourself as a part of my great happening. All that you and the trillions of life forms in creation experience is in accordance with one's understanding and trust in the all knowing one. Let your life be like a mirror that reflects not only the things and persons that you meet, but also my presence in them. For once, my mind had no questions to offer up. You then stood up and lovingly gestured, "Be happy." And so I was. My mind and heart were satiated with your comforting words and presence. By your grace, a vast expanse had opened up within me. I felt I was setting sail into your ocean and flowing into the timeless happening.
This chapter itself is named as Timeless Happening. Where is, okay. Mhm. Yeah. What is mind matter? That is okay. You chuckled and affirmed, that's right, nothing matters. So, in other words, what Baba is trying to tell us is that from the standpoint of truth, nothing really matters. Because everything that is happening, everything, the joys, the sorrows, whatever is happening in the domain of illusion. And through that illusion, with the help of the illusion, using the illusion as our springboard, we are supposed to reach the truth or the reality. So the illusion in itself has no astitva in a sense of, that's why Baba says, in a sense, nothing matters. So what we are expected to do is be very focused on remembering Baba, on holding on to Baba, on trusting Baba, irrespective of what happens in our mundane life, the good, the bad, the ugly. So Baba says, that's right, nothing matters. There is nothing but the timeless happening. That happening, basically, in my limited understanding, would be that since the time of creation, which is whenever, it is the divine dream with which the divine creator is dreaming. And as he is dreaming, things get created out of nothingness. For example, in our own dream, when we are dreaming, what happens? We create people and places and situations. We create, isn't it? And once we are awakened from our sleep, then we realize it was just a dream. It never really existed. And therefore, Baba never gave importance to the dreams that we dream. When people would refer dreams to Baba, and Baba would just laugh it off and say, what mahatva, what importance do you give to that? Because you are dreaming within a dream. This whole of our life is itself a dream. And within that dream, you are dreaming something. So what importance is there in that? It's like that. So, and once, and we have done this earlier also, that a dream becomes a dream only when you wake up. Only upon waking up, we realize that that was all a dream. So here also, when we finally awaken to the truth or reality, we will be able to appreciate Baba's words or words of any of the seers who say that all this is just a dream, all this is just nothing into nothing, all this is just zero multiplied by zero, all this is just a shadow, all this is not happening at all. We don't experience that. We experience that everything is happening. There is war happening somewhere, there is earthquake happening somewhere, there's tsunami happening somewhere, and we get affected by that. But from the standpoint of truth, nothing is happening. But I don't experience that because I am in the dream. And as long as we are in the dream, we experience the dream as a reality. In the dream, we do that, isn't it? Only when we wake up, nothing happened. Actually, it was just a dream. So when we really awaken to the truth and the oneness, I alone am, or I am God, Aham Brahmasmi, then we will realize that all this was just a dream. So Baba says over here that there is nothing happening except one timeless happening. My eyebrows raised, asking you to expound on your profound statement. Expound means to discuss and go into the length, to explain at length in details. Expound on your profound statement that provided some closure to my progression of thoughts over the afternoon. It gave me some closure, it gave me some relief, some respite when you said this. I want to know more about it. Without any resistance, Baba says, let your mind be open, allowing thoughts and feelings to flow in and flow out. That is what even Buddha said when Buddha was dying. Somebody asked, any last moment advice? He said, like, have your eyes but do not see, have your ears but do not hear. What does it mean is, do not be attracted, do not be affected, do not be triggered, do not be agitated, by whatever is happening around you. In other words, do not give it any countenance, do not give it any importance. So here Baba says, allowing your thoughts and feelings to flow in and flow out, whatever they may be, the good, the bad, the ugly. The world is composed of innumerable happenings right at this moment. Millions and millions upon things are happening all over the world, both great and small. But in truth, there is just one incredible would mean profound, incredible, indivisible, cannot be divided, cannot be departmentalized, no, indivisible, timeless happening. And that is the divine dream. We call it a Leela of God. Let yourself flow with it as a part of my divine game. Divine game, we also call it Leela. You just flow with it. Do not be affected by it. Opening your arms to indicate the room and expanse outside the window, you reaffirm. So he's showing things around you, around him. Everything you see and beyond, it is but one happening. And you too, although unaware, are one with it. We are unaware that we are one with that happening, but we will only become aware, conscious, realize only when that realization dawns. Then we will realize experientially, consciously, that there is nothing but one is, and that one is I am. That's all. There's no other. There's nothing else. There's only one. That way you then settle into the soft chair near my desk, and with a deep and intimate expression continued, there is only one moment in which this panorama, this unbroken view that we see, this panorama of millions of years measured in your time appears. In that one moment, millions of years which you measure according to your time, so and so BC, so and so AD, or whatever that may be. All those billions of years appear in that one moment is what Baba. How do we fathom it? How do we analyze? How do we accept it? How do we fathom it? How do we understand it? How do we capture what Baba is trying to say? The moment is nothing but the ever living one experiencing everything. Ever living one is the Lord. We call it Baba, we call it Awakener. The ever living one experiencing everything. The one, capital O, who experiencing infinite illusion has projected it out and it returns to the one. The entire creation is a projection of the divine dream, and it goes on and comes back and returns. There's a saying, that you return from the same spot or the same hole or the same point from which you exit, but with a whole world of difference. When you exit, you have no consciousness, a very, 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 very rudimentary consciousness. When you go the whole circle, like creation, evolution, reincarnation, involution, realization, then you come back and you enter the same point where you exit, from where you exit. But there is a world of difference. Now you are fully conscious that you alone exist. There is nothing beyond. And everything that you have experienced was nothing but a dream. Whose dream? My own dream. Like that. So coming back to our reading, the moment is nothing but the ever living one, capital E, capital L, capital O, experiencing everything. The one who experiencing infinite illusion has projected it out and it returns to the one. Could there be even a single moment that does not hold the eternity of the infinite one's presence? Can there be a single moment when he is not present? That means he is omnipotent, omnipresent, omniscient. He is all powerful, he is all present with everywhere, and he is all knowing. For I am ever active, responding to every situation, both personal and universal. Please go on, I said, listening intently. Most people misunderstand the oneness of all life. Most people misunderstand when everybody, all the seers say God is one. Sai Baba proclaimed himself to be God. Hazrat Baba Jan said Anal Haq. Mer Baba said I am God, and so many others, directly, indirectly. Lord Krishna said the same thing. Jesus said the same thing in his own way. My father and I are one. So when you say God is one, how can so many people say I am God? It is beyond us. It's because we misunderstand one as a numeral one, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. When God is one, Baba says God is so uncompromisingly one that there is no place for the other. He is so uncompromisingly one that each and every drop in that ocean is actually the ocean. But when that drop experiences itself as the ocean, or in Baba's words, when that drop swallows the ocean, the experience is not I am a part of the ocean, but the experience is I am the ocean. That means that oneness is so uncompromisingly one that there is no scope, there is no place, there is no nothing beyond that. There is no other, in other words. All right. Most people misunderstand the oneness of all life. Your dividing life into separate pieces is as ridiculous as a conflict between two disciples massaging each leg of their master. So Baba says that there are two disciples who are massaging the leg of the master, and when both the disciples love the master. Master, of course, love everybody, including the two disciples. But the two disciples do not love each other. So when the attention of one disciple is not there on the massaging, the other disciple is pinching the leg of the master, which the other disciple is massaging. You understand? Because you don't get along well. Little does he realize that the hurt goes to the master. Whether it is the leg that he is massaging or somebody else is massaging. If such a simple example can be understood by all the religious, whatever you call it, the priest class and the dasturs and the maulvis and all that, that any hurt that we give to anybody in creation ultimately hurts the Lord whom you are loving. You call him by any name, Ishwar, Bhagwan, Allah, whatever you call it, God, Yazdan, Ahura Mazda, whatever. So in other words, there is nothing but one. So when you hurt anybody, you are actually hurting your own God, your own master, because there is nothing else but the master everywhere. So very beautifully Baba explains that. Everyone is a part of the whole. Not some people dishonor others. Baba gives an example. I use the word hurt because they see their duty as separate from the ultimate well-being of the whole. Everyone is a part of the whole, not just a separate pieces. Yes, I can see the point you are making. I responded. Try to witness all things and events as well as yourself as a part of my great happening. Once we realize that everyone and everything is everyone and everything at the same time and for all time, then this practice or whatever you call it, tendency of hurting the other, whether physically, mentally, emotionally, or whatever other ways, will absolutely vanish, because then you realize that by my hurting somebody, actually I am hurting myself, or I am hurting the Lord or the Master whom I feel and I know is omnipotent, omnipresent, omniscient. All that you and the trillions of life forms in creation experience is in accordance with one's understanding and trust. So what I experience is based on my own understanding and trust in that one. If my understanding and trust is absolute, that he is everyone and everything, that the other person is nothing but wearing a mask, Baba is wearing a mask of that A, B, C, D, X, Y, Z, then I will never hurt anybody, because then I know that I am hurting Baba. So here Baba says that each one's experience is in accordance with one's understanding and trust in the all-knowing one. Let your life be like a mirror that reflects not only the things and persons that you meet, but also my presence in them. Anything that you experience, anybody whom you meet, anybody whom you encounter with, whatever it is, if we are able to experience Baba's presence in them, then the whole scenario changes. The whole mold of our discussion, talking, debating, whatever that may be, totally changes, because then we realize that it is Baba in him who is talking to the Baba in me. For once, my mind had no question to offer up. You then stood up and lovingly gestured, "Be happy." And so I was. My mind and heart were satiated. Satiated would mean satisfied to the full, fully satisfied. Satiated with your comforting words and presence. His presence is always comforting. By your grace, a vast expanse had opened up within me. I felt I was setting sail into your ocean and flowing into the timeless happening. That means I felt, because of your presence, that I was flowing into the timeless happening. Any questions? Any sharing? Any information? Everybody is so quiet that I feel frightened. Anyway, okay. Yeah.
I ask one question.
Yes, Shyamji, boliye.
Yes. And
There is some mic open. Okay.
okay.
Go ahead.
And Baba says that this world is illusion.
Yes.
It is dream. Then I sometimes think then why Baba should suffer for this illusory world, and why Jesus Christ should take sins of this illusory world. This is my question.
See, first of all, we must understand what is the role of Maya. Illusion is, it appears to be what it is not. It is an illusion. But you are asking why he should suffer. First of all, we must understand that he is not suffering for himself, but he is suffering for each one of us, because we are acting and reacting and behaving well as well as misbehaving based on our own interpretation of the world. That is why that last paragraph where Baba says, that based on your own understanding of how things are happening and based on your own trust in me as the all-knowing, all-powerful, all-seeing, you will experience everything. Because we are not able to experience his oneness in everything, that is why we are creating situations where we, let's say, imbibe or attract certain samskaric patterns for which we are supposed to suffer. But Baba meaning even Christ or all the avatars, being so compassionate, they know and they realize that of our own accord we cannot reduce the burden of our suffering. So out of their compassion they come, having no need to come, they come. Being absolutely and entirely free, they get themselves voluntarily bound so that they are able to free us from our bondage. So that has been going on from time immemorial. You can say from eternity. It has been happening that every period of time the avatar comes, we call it comes, descends, and takes upon himself the suffering. It is like trying to balance out, the karma by taking upon himself all the suffering. He can bear the suffering because of the knowledge that all this is illusion. Baba had said that as the avatar, I do not use my power, infinite power. I do not use my infinite bliss. Because if I use my power, then I will not be able to suffer. If I use my bliss, then where is the suffering? I only use my knowledge. So the knowledge is what? The knowledge that all this is an illusion. Baba had said, conveyed, that at the back of his being, there is infinite bliss, but he does not use that bliss. But the knowledge that everything is infinite bliss, helps him to take upon himself the suffering for humanity.
This is illusion. Why should it? This is illusion. Why should it? This illusion. Okay, why did
So illusion does not mean, see, the point is illusion does not mean that you will not suffer. Illusion basically is to take things for what it is not. Baba says the greatest illusion is that I am born. It's an illusion. Or I am this body. It's an illusion. The whole, I feel, the whole purpose of creation is for the creature to finally realize that I myself am the creator. The whole purpose of creation is to act as a divine incubator in which the consciousness of the soul incubates and becomes perfect and realizes at the fag end of the journey that there is no such thing as creation. That creation itself is an illusion. So from the standpoint of truth, what you are saying is correct, that he never comes. There is no creation at all. But that is only from that Advait standpoint. As long as we are in illusion, we have to face illusion, we have to struggle with illusion, we have to experience illusion, and we have to overcome illusion. And to help us do that, he comes in the illusion to help us to awaken. That's why Baba says, I have come not to teach but to awaken. To awaken whom? To awaken himself in each one of us, because he sees himself bound in each one of us. And all that we are studying and all this is basically aimed at fine-tuning us, at transforming us into thinking, into feeling, into behaving in a manner which will help him to help us come to him or become him, or realize that there is no difference between him and us. I don't know if I have made myself clear. Sham Sundarji.
It is clear to large extent, but the suffering is only for the body, physical suffering.
No. There can be suffering for the mind also. Baba's suffering you are talking?
Yes, Baba suffered physically
Yes.
2 times.
Yes, he did. That 2 times is just an external physical suffering, because Baba said, every moment I am being crucified. He had said that word, every moment I am being crucified. So it is not just the physical suffering, it could also be the mental suffering, and not because of his mind, because he doesn't have a finite mind. Because of the mental suffering of each and every one in creation, and because he has a universal mind which comprises of all the individual minds, and therefore he suffers mentally also. Am I making clear?
Yes, thank you.
Mental suffering is not because of himself, it is because of our mental suffering. Our physical suffering, all of our physical body is embodied in his universal body. All of our limited minds are embodied in his universal mind. And therefore he says, constantly I am suffering all the time. Okay.
And who are the beneficiaries?
Sorry?
Who are the beneficiaries in this?
We are the beneficiaries. We are benefiting. We are benefiting in direct proportion of how we or what we take Baba to be. Again, the same sentence. depending, each one experiences depending upon our own understanding and our own trust in the all-knowingness of Baba. And therefore, Baba keeps on harping the same thing. Think that you are not the thinker. Feel that you are not the feeler, the person who feels, and act as if you are not the doer. Because in truth, in reality, it is He who is doing through us. And because of our false eye, we'll come to that, because Rakesh Gupta has something, sent me something to say. I know he's not present here, but he said he'll be looking at it in the Facebook at the later stage. So we have to answer that. So in other words, the real I, capital I, has got all enmeshed in the false I, and all this jamela, all this whatever mess up is because of that. We'll come to that, where we are reading that. Can I go ahead, Sam Sundarji?
Yes. Okay, thank you very much.
We are welcome, sir. Soumya will read this out, which is given by Baba, a message, very profound, very profound, and thanks to your question, because it is Baba's game only, that it is very much connected and linked with what he has given. Go ahead.
The false eye of Airaj tries its best to serve. The aim of all yogas is one. The aim is that the false ego or the falsity of the split ego should disappear and the real ego to be manifested in its reality. In other words, the real I, which plays the part of the false I, should completely forget to play the part and assert itself as it really is. It becomes impossible for the real I to forget that it is playing the part of false I, but the real I tries to forget the part it plays of the false I through action, karma yoga. For example, take Airaj. His is the real I within, but as Airaj, he is the false I. Now, the real I within Airaj tries to forget that it is playing only the part of the false I as Airaj. While trying to do so, the false I as Airaj tries its best to serve so many other false eyes. But the fun is that one false I, in its struggle to forget, efface itself, remembers so many other false eyes while bent upon serving them. The one real I, which is eternally free, gets apparently bound by this process, and it is eternally trying to forget and trying to remember at one and the same time. In another type of yoga, bhakti yoga, the real I, while acting the part of the false I, tries to worship the real. The false I cannot be anything but false, and it cannot have any conception of the real I. The real I, acting as false I, forms a false conception of the real I. Then what does the false I say? It says, "Oh, real I worship thee in all." And the tragedy is that when the false I prays to and worships the real I, it sees and comes across only the innumerable false eyes. In fact, it worships other false eyes rather than the one and real I. However, the path of love, Prema Yoga, is unique because on it, the real I plays the part of the false I while it itself covertly remains in the background as the beloved. And while continuing to play this part, it burns or consumes its false ego and ultimately itself as the beloved. In Airaj, for example, the real I acts as the false I and loves the real I within. On one hand, there is the real I, and on the other, there is the false I as Airaj. But these are not two separate eyes. The false I as Airaj tries to bestow love on the real I, and that is why, with gradual increase in love and with greater intensity of longing, the false I by degrees gets more and more consumed, effaced by love. All the while, the real I, as the beloved, remains in the background as it really is. Eventually, when the false I is totally consumed, there remains neither the false I nor love. The beloved as the real I reigns supreme as one infinite, indivisible self. The Path of Love, pages 91 92 by Meher Baba.
All right. I think we'll need a dedicated session. We are already on 6:30, but I'll just give you a very small, it's a very profound message in a very gist way. There is a real I within me, let's say. Baba says within Erach, okay, within Erach. And what we call as Erach is the false I. Now, that applies to each one of us. Now, the false I, either through, let us say, Baba uses the word karma yoga. Now, in karma yoga, you try to serve others. Now, the false I of Erach is serving thousands of other false eyes in so many others. So there is no question of getting realization because the real I is sitting aloof. The false I serving other thousands, millions false I. So that was the role of a karma yogi. And therefore you cannot really achieve anything. Yeah, you may get, there's another chapter which we will come to that very beautiful. Yeah, but how can you have a concept of the real I? That's what. Then Baba talks about bhakti yoga. So you will have bhakti, worshipping. You worship a photo frame, you worship an idol, you go to this dargah, you go to this temple, this masjid, this church, this samadhi, whatever it is, thinking that I am worshipping the real I. But the false I in me cannot even conceptualize the real I. So in effect, I am worshipping the false aspect of the real I. I hope I'm making myself clear. So in other words, Baba says that all that we do in terms of bhakti yoga, in terms of karma yoga, in terms of meditation, whatever, it is not going to make you reach the truth. The only way out, Baba is propounding very strongly, is the prema path, the prema yoga, prema, love, real love. Now here, there is Erach, which is false I, and there is within Erach, the real I. So in other words, his now focus is not on serving or on bhakti, but in loving the real I, which is within. And in the process of loving, in the process of longing to become one, the very process of, see, try to understand here we are trying to conceptualize the real I outside of us by doing this work, that work, selfless work, social service, whatever, lepers, poor feeding, whatever. But all that is outside. The real I is where? In me, in Erach. So only when he starts longing to become one with the real I, that is himself, the split I Baba talk, then gradually the false I gets eradicated and finally the real I becomes prakat or manifest. We'll read that again next turn at the end of the session. But since I had in a sense promised Rakesh that I'll try to throw some light on it, I've done that in a nutshell because we are already exceeding time. Next time when we read, we will try to do this in a little depth. But the sum and substance is what I have explained to you. Whatever you do, the good, the bad, the ugly, from the platform of I am the doer, I am doing it, finish. The false I is manifesting itself and you are bound by those actions. Good, the bad, the ugly, irrespective of what you do. Only when the false I falls in love with the real I, not outside of you, within you. That means that's why Baba says that you may search for God anywhere. You may go to Russia, you may go to UK, anywhere. But ultimately you will find God within yourself. So why don't I search within? When that search starts within myself, then the false I gradually gets eradicated, effaced, and then the reality. That's the sum and substance of this very profound message from the Path of Love, page 91, 92, I believe. Okay, so we'll come to that next time. Anybody else has anything to ask, share? Thank you, Baba. Thank you once again. Avatar Meher Baba ki jai. Avatar Meher Baba ki. Thank you, Baba. Thank you, Baba. Thank you so much.
Jai
It was really
Jai
good.
Baba.
Thank you, Jai Baba.
Jai
Thank
Baba.
you, Baba. Jai Baba. Jai Baba.
Hey, Baba.